Hello, everybody. Welcome to the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Christopher Saunders, and it's funny that I have somebody on who is a former Albertus person, as am I. So it's funny to kind of reflect on some things, and also a guy who less than a week ago, less than what, 5 days ago,
Yes,
4 days
sir.
ago, whatever it was, losing track of the days, you are a state championship or state champion along with the Chippewa program for boys basketball, as you guys won a pretty single-handedly game against Old Lyme in Division 5. Congratulations to you and Chippewa, and obviously you guys went undefeated during the
We
basketball
did.
season.
We did. Credit to all the kids. They showed up every day ready to work. It's very easy to be a coach on that team. And when all of the things you really just got to focus on is just putting their information out there, and then they kind of just do everything themselves. And it just drives everything.
But now we turn the page, as you were telling me before, that you are the head baseball coach for Lakeview, which for
Yes.
people who may not remember or know, Litchfield and Wamogo ended up combining. So now it's Region 20, correct?
Yeah, Region 20 is
Okay.
now the district.
Okay.
Lakeview's the high school. Plum Hill's the middle school. We're up at the Wamogo campus for the high school.
Okay. So I think that's kind of what, right where I want to jump to right now, because with you being now, you've never been a head coach as far as for anything, correct? Other than like your fantasy teams, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, head coach, I guess you could say manager for men's league over the summer. The past 3, 4 years, me and my buddy, we've spearheaded and been in control of a men's league team out in the and and I can't think of the league name to be exact.
NECBO?
No,
NECBO?
not the college league, the Nutmeg League.
Oh, I
I
guess, yeah.
can't think what the thing is, but the Nutmeg. Me and my friend Dan DeBart Mateo, we ran a team this year for it, so that's really been my head coaching experience.
Okay. So you're kind of jumping into this pretty fresh for the most part.
Yeah,
But as you were telling me before we came on here, your father being the head coach for the soccer team for Chicago, which also won a state title as well. And obviously, for people who also may not remember the name Greg Hunt, he coached for many, many years at Wamogo before they combined with Litchfield. He coached many of players down the line. Two of them, the most, in my opinion, the most notable that I know, Steven Strasberg when he was with, at the time, the Torrington Twisters when Hunt was there. Mike Oldenwalder, who had a fantastic high school career, college career, was drafted for the short time with the O's in the minor league system and such. You've had the ability to kind of pick their brains a little bit. Now, your dad not coaching baseball and soccer, but still having that head coaching kind of reputation.
yeah.
What have you learned from the both of them coming into this?
It's really about the culture set forward. He go that they really said if you have that family like atmosphere, that championship mentality
Mhm.
behind everything. Championship mentality is mainly from Coach Hunt, and then the family atmosphere is more so from my father. Just if you create that atmosphere where kids want to be and want to be a part of, it gets them there every day wanting to play, and that kind of resonated with me. Like once I started to reflect on it, like you don't think about that as a player, but when I think about it now and on the teams that I enjoyed to be a part of, it was we were all friends. We were all a family. We cared and had that common goal in mind. And then the teams more so that were just like, do I really have to show up? Do I really have to go? It was, oh, so and so's over there is only caring about what they're doing on the field. I'm only caring about what I'm doing. If I don't succeed at what I'm doing, I'm wrong. But
Mhm.
those other teams, we were excited when the freshman got into the game and hit a three for his first career points, or on the soccer field, he scores his first goal or gets his first tackle. On the baseball mound, nothing more exciting than watching somebody get their first strikeout and you have the whole bench just screaming and all that. And it just creates that camaraderie and that excitement. So, building that foundation of a family culture and championship mentality. Because then, if you have that, you can strive forward towards winning games and do the little things correctly, and it'll just build upon itself.
Do you feel like because, with you being the head baseball coach and it also being the spring, it's had the fall and the winter because again, I don't know how much Berkshire League people really know to a certain degree or the history. And I only knew about the Berkshire League over the last couple of years covering Nanawag and kind of diving in, and there's somebody who runs the Instagram account, the Rundown, who does a fantastic job being able to get the Berkshire League news out there. Cody is his first name, last name's escaping me, but he does a
Diz.
fantastic
Cody
job.
Diz.
Good. Thank you. And I just saw him at Mohegan too, so my apologies to you, Cody, but I got the first name. He does a fantastic job. Do you feel like with you being the baseball coach and because the kids have been able to now get acclimated because at one point they were rivals, they hated each other, quote unquote. So do you think that because of now they've had the fall and the winter to kind of iron out those rough edges, that now it's like, okay, we're teammates, we're not going anywhere. I may hate you, but we're going to be teammates. We're going to get through this. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think talking to their coaches and talking to the kids themselves could like trying to form those relationships that is something that they like said like and you could see it in their stats throughout the year beginning of the year for soccer they weren't really going but then by the time the state tournament came around they started clicking same
Mhm.
thing with the basketball team. I mean if you just want to look at the Chappaq games alone when they played us on the floor and I was on the other side of it, first game we blew them out by 30, second game we only won by 3. And then in the BL tournament, in the first round of it, we went up 29 nothing, but then they rallied back and we only beat them by 1. So it shows that they start to click. And I think also the benefit with baseball, how it's such an individual yet team sport at the same time, that it's man versus man. Like it's the batter versus the pitcher, not so much you have to go back and forth with your teammate, but the thing that comes in for your team is just the cheering and the emotions that you bring together and then the team defense. So I think that's where it builds upon itself is that they've already had those 2 seasons to go through and now they can move on together. And I think it's even cooler too because we have a pair of cousins on the team that were at 2 different schools and they may or may not be up the middle for our infield, but it's what it's looking like. But having those two that never got the chance to play together, now they get to play together for the next 2 years. It's going to be pretty cool to see.
How has pitchers and catchers been so far early on?
Pretty good. More so for me, just trying to form that relationships and whatnot with the kids, but also making it a fun experience for them. Because nowadays, um, the attention span on kids is just in and out. You could call it the TikTok brain, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. But got to keep things short and simple for them or else you lose them. And baseball being my favorite sport, I know how boring it really is. But it's one of my favorite things to do and favorite things to watch. So you got to find the fun ways to do it. Like for example, today at pitchers and catchers, one of our drills, we were running wide receiver routes. We had somebody as a quarterback. They were throwing out of the stretch, so they were holding on a runner while somebody else was playing cornerback, someone was playing wide receiver, and they were running routes and they were trying to intercept the ball and drop in that dime pass while he was staying close and going through everything. So for them, just being able to do different things and get the best out of each other and compete, that's the other thing that I've very been trying to implement during pitchers and catchers is competition nonstop. Because if you get them competing and just going at each other every single day, it's just driving the best out of everyone compared to just going through the motions. Oh, this is how you throw a fastball. Oh, your leg kick up and over and go. It just gets very repetitive and very boring. And for a kid that doesn't really see a future, because let's be real, in the Berkshire League, a lot of your teams made up of kids that are just signing up to play during the spring season. They don't have any aspirations to play outside of it. Meanwhile, then you have some kids that are potentially D1 level that are trying to play at the next level. So you got to find a way to counteract both of them. So by doing these fun little things, they are still getting their drill, they're still getting their conditioning in, but you're still having fun with it and they're still getting everything done.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned as far as the kids that are just signing up to, just, in some ways maybe just to play, some to just kind of maybe be with their friends. And I was talking about this with somebody. It may have been over Mohegan some, but I want to say it was not too long, if not that time, maybe a little bit before that. But the Berkshire League as a whole, when it comes to sports, you have the Thomasons, which has like 100 kids. 70 of them are girls, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, and they produce winners. Obviously, trying to pick Gilbert on the map when I had the young lady on who had over 2,000 points. I was honest with her. I was like, where's Gilbert? I don't know where that is. Shapog, prime example. People can't even get the name right. They call it Sheephog, and I'm
Yep.
like, it's Shapog. But like, that's what I'm saying. You can't even pick a lot of these schools out of a map, but you can't even get the names right. And they still produce studs. And I feel like the kids are just coming out to play. are better than
It's
some kids who play for 10 years. I don't know why. Do you know why?
I think just the everyday competition that they have, like there's no space to really be one of those like lower end kids really on these programs because everyone's expected to contribute and be a part of it because they are such low numbers. Like for example, like if you want to look at the basketball floor, for example, for Chapag, we had 14 kids in our entire program. That's from our freshman program, JV, and varsity. We had 14 amongst the three teams. So we were running uh 10 kids on the varsity floor, but five of them were playing double dipping in JV and varsity, so they were playing in 2 games on a night. And then freshmen, if they had a freshman game, they could potentially be playing 3 games in the night, or they'd have to come play freshman, go home for a little bit, come back to the varsity game and whatnot. So they're just expected to do things and get things done at such a young age as a freshman. So by times they're seniors, they have to play. And they've already had that experience of playing because they've been brought up. And then, luckily enough, with a bunch of these Berkshire League teams, you always have 1 to 2 kids that are aspiring to go play at the next level, and they're never egocentric. And from what I've experienced, what I've played with, what I've seen throughout the league or whatnot, they want to see their other kids get better, so they bring those lower end kids up with them. So then, once they leave, they're leaving the school better than what it was when they were there, and it's just been steamrolling and continuing year and year.
Again, it's just one of those things, man, where I feel like there's a lot of golden jewels when it comes to the Berkshire League. You know, I think about a couple years ago when Nanawag defeated Wolcott for baseball, right? And you think about how they were down in that championship game. They were able to find a way to come back in that. They won the whole thing. That team had a dream year, especially too when they lost their coach midway through the year. And then my guy Jimmy Alberto comes in and wins them a championship. And Alberto won plenty at Thomaston, right? So it was Berkshire League to Berkshire League all over again. You obviously being a little bit younger in the tooth have some years to catch up to Jimmy. But, you know, the point is, though, with the amount of knowledge that you have, and I think because you're closer to these kids' ages than a Jimmy or myself or many other coaches in the state, I would think that you'd have a pretty good way to connect with the kids. What says you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, there's truly something about understanding what they're saying, really, because we all know there's their lingo and whatnot.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard to understand sometimes, but like when you understand it and you're able to communicate with them, I feel as if there's like not more respect, but just the fact that they realize that I'm going to bat for them no matter what. They know that sense of energy and level that I'm going to have for them, that I wouldn't ask them to do something I wouldn't do, and that I would be, um, that I just expect the same from them, and that I was in their shoes not even 4 or 5 years ago. Back in 2018, when I graduated from Chapag, we were going to the state semis, and we lost in the state semis my senior year. But then they went right back to the state finals the next year. So like that was great to see. So just being able to showcase what happened with me and express that to them. And then there's a lot of you see a lot of times with kids, especially with older coaches, they're just like, he's been out of the game for 60 years. What does he expect? What does he know? The game's different nowadays. Like you look at the major league level right now, Shohei, Ellie De La Cruz, like they're doing things so much differently than the older people like Max Scherzer and all the older guys in the league. And they're all like, look at these kids messing around and playing. But no, that's baseball now. That's what's fun. And they're doing it to have fun, and it's what riles up their guys. It's what gives them energy, and it's what gives them the passion to go out there every single day and do the nitty gritty stuff.
I'm all for having the kids having fun. Maybe don't do what the dude from Michigan did
All
after
right,
the
yes,
Super Bowl.
yes, yes.
Maybe don't
There's
do
a line,
that.
obviously, yes.
Maybe
Uh,
don't maybe get away from that. But and funny that you mentioned that, or funny that I mentioned the Michigan thing. Did you see the Division 3 team beat Washington the other day?
I did not see that.
Yeah, Division 3 school beat Washington, a
Okay,
Power 3, Power 2 in the Big Ten, used to be in the Pac-12. How about that? Division
that's
three beating a Division 1 school.
I mean, that's my favorite thing about baseball. I've said that to the kids already. I'll say that to anyone. Baseball is literally the greatest sport because it doesn't matter who's on that field that day. Any team can win anything
Yeah.
compared to basketball or soccer. If you're the better team, you're the better team at the borderline. Like at the end of the day, there's not much you can do about it. Just
Mhm.
the skill level is there. But baseball, you could have a really bad team and one stud pitcher, and they're going to be in that game for the whole game, no matter what happens.
Yep.
So you go in and go out, and that's why I always don't like the stigmatism towards the Berkshire League, that the Berkshire League is the Berkshire League. It's just a rollover league to do it. If you look through these past few years, they've made long runs in Class M, Class S. Nanowalks recently won a state title for baseball. Soccer, we've won a state title for Chippewa. Basketball, we just won the state title. Um, Thomaston, I think for field hockey or something, did it. Chippewa for field hockey won it this year as well. So the
Mhm.
Berkshire League's not the a Berkshire League. Like if you how everyone always praises the shoreline or whatnot, that we as a basketball team for Chippewa, we took down 4 shoreline teams this year. Um, but it is what it is, and that's one thing I'm looking forward to baseball with our outer league. With the merger of Wamogo and Litchfield taking away a league opportunity, it opens up the doors for the Berkshire League to go play outer league games and play against tougher competitions. I know that is one thing that I specifically asked our ADs to give us a tougher outer league schedule. Like we have Newtown, oh wait, no, not New, we have New Fairfield, Brookfield, Bethel, O'Brien Tech, and one other school. I'm drawing a blank on it right now as our outer league games, and I'm excited for that. And you best believe we're throwing our guys, we're throwing everyone out there, and we're going to win those games every single day because we're sending a message that the Berkshire League's not just a rollover league. We're a league here to compete, and we're going to make a run in the state tournament. No matter if it's us, Chippewa, Hoosie, Nonawag, or Northwest, I want to see the Berkshire League go as far as possible because the way people just talk down on it.
So what you said? New Fairfield, Bethel, and who was the other one besides
Here,
O'Brien?
I'll read it right to you. I have the schedule right here on my phone.
I was gonna say that's three SWC schools to my
Yeah. So
recollection.
so for us, we're scrimmaging Canton, Crosby, Wilbur Cross. Those are our scrimmages, and then we go to for our out of league games, New Fairfield, Brookfield, so two SWCs right there.
Okay.
Caner Tech, so a tech school,
Okay.
O'Brien Tech, another tech school, and then Coggins and Bethel.
Coggins, Shoreline, Bethel, SWC. And
So we
Coggins
got
typically is pretty competitive.
yes. We played them last year as the Wamogo team.
Yeah. Yeah, because they won it against St. Paul some years ago. As well. I think
Mhm.
21 they won it, if I remember right.
Yes.
Somewhere around there. So nice, man. Hey, sounds very, very good. Before I let you go, what can people expect from the Lakeview Bobcats in their first inaugural baseball season?
We're gonna let the kids play. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna do things the right way on the baseball field. We're gonna be energetic. We're gonna be up there cheering on our team, everything towards us.
Mhm.
You best bet they rip a double. They're gonna be looking back to their dugout and they're gonna be celebrating with their teammates. It's gonna be a season of highs for them. They're gonna be working their butts off so they can celebrate and go from there.
Alan, best of luck in your first
Thank
season
you.
as the head coach with Lakeview and stay in touch. All right, buddy?
Thank you.
Wrap things up here in the CT Sports Talent Show. Next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. Try and find them all. Enjoy the day, everybody, and be well.